श्री भगवानुवाच ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Chapter 13, Nature, the Enjoyer and Consciousness. Arjuna uvacha प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव क्षेत्रं क्षेत्रज्ञ एव च एतम् एतद्विदितुम् इच्छामि ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव। श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय क्षेत्रम् इति अभिधीयते एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदा। क्षेत्रज्ञ चापि मां विद्धि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानं यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृक् च यद्विकारी यतश्च यत् स च यो यत्प्रभवश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु। ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितः। महाभूतानि अहङ्कारो बुद्धिरव्यक्तमेव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकां च पञ्चेन्द्रियगोचरः इच्छा द्वेष सुखं दुःखं सङ्गातश्चेतना धृहि एतत् क्षेत्रं समासेन सविकारम् उदाहृताम्। अमानित्वम् अदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिर्अर्जुन अर्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं शान्तिर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रह इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् अनभिस्वङ्गा पुत्रधारा गृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्यगो योगेन भक्तिरव्याभिचारिणी विविक्ता देशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वं तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानम् इति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यद् अतोऽन्यत् यथा ज्ञेयं यत्तत् प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञत्वामृतम् अश्नुते अनादिमत्परं ब्रह्म न सत्तन्नासत् उच्यते सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतो शिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य इष्टति सर्वेन्द्रियाणि गुणाभासं सर्वेन्द्रियविवर्जितम् असक्तं सर्वभृक्षैव निर्गुणं गुणभोक्तृ च बहिरन्तश्च भूतानाम् अचरं चरम् एव च सूक्ष्मत्वात् तद् अविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तम् इव चास्थितं भूतभृत् चेत्तज्ज्ञेयं ग्राणिष्णु प्रभविष्णु च। ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिस् तमसः परमुच्यते। ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम्। इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः। मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपध्यायते। प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विद्धि अनादि उद्भवपि। विकारंश्च गुणंश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृतिसम्भवान्। कर्तृत्वे हेतु प्रकृतिरुच्यते। पुरुष सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते। पुरुष प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान्। कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सद् असद्योनिजन्मसु। उपदृष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरा। परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः। य एवं वेत्ति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयो विजायते। ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिद् आत्मानम् आत्मना। अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे। अन्ये त्वा एवम् अजानन्ता श्रुत्वा नेभ्य उपासते। तेऽपि चातितरन्तीत्वा मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणः। यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गम। क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विद्धि भरतर्षभ। समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनश्यन्तश्च अविनश्यन्तं यः पश्यन्ति च पश्यति। समं पश्यन् हि सर्वत्र समवस्थितम् ईश्वरं। न हिनस्ति आत्मानात्मानं ततो याति परं गतिम्। प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तदात्मानम् अकर्तारं च पश्यति। यदा भूता पृथक् भावम् एकास्तम् अनुपश्यति तथा एव च विस्तारं ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते तदा। अनादित्वा निर्गुणत्वात् परमात्मायम् अव्ययः। शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते। यथा सर्वगतं गतं सौक्ष्म्याद् आकाशं नोपलिप्यते। सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मा नोपलिप्यते। यथा प्रकाशयत्कथा कृष्णं लोकम् इमं रविः। क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृष्णं प्रकाशयति भारत। क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरं ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूता प्रकृतिं मोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम्। हरे कृष्ण। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणी जय हो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So today we will start the 13th chapter, and this is the third module. Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 parts, right? And the most confidential is in the middle, which is the Bhakti Yoga. Always the safest is always kept in the middle, right? So both sides it's protected. First 6 it's protected by how? You know, the first 6 talks about Karma Yoga. And the middle 6, you all know it's Bhakti Yoga. And the last 6 is what we are going to see, which is called Jnana Yoga. Why is Jnana coming? Jnana is the knowledge which is given to us to reach Krishna conscious. So now we have seen all 3. So we will start off in depth on the 13th chapter. Okay, so this chapter is called the nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness. Kshetra, Kshetranya, Vibhaga Yoga. Right, so let's start our journey. Hare Krishna. So this is the questions which will come in the mind, right? If Bhakti is the culmination, why is Jnana presented in the last 6 chapters? So the answer is the entire Bhagavad Gita is Bhakti only. But the first 6 chapters discuss how to achieve Bhakti through work. That is what we say Karma Yoga. The last 6 describe how to achieve it through knowledge. And the middle 6 is the Bhakti itself. Also in the 12th chapter, Krishna explained how he personally delivers his devotees from birth and death. So the last 6 actually provides the philosophical knowledge required to extricate oneself from this material world, right? So he has told you have to come. So we have to know how to come, right? So that is what is Jnana. Jnana has its use in assisting our detachment from Maya and our attachment to Krishna. So it therefore reduces detachment with Maya and increases our attachment, and it helps us to understand the process. Hence, when we use knowledge as a means to attain devotion, it becomes part of Bhakti. Why is this highlighted here is the concept many times when they say Jnana Yoga, which they are talking about mental concoction, you keep analyzing the right and the wrong on your own means, is different. But here what they are talking about Jnana is devotional service to reach Bhakti. You know, you try and understand, get the knowledge, right? How do we approach? What are the things we should do? So this Jnana is also a part of Bhakti Yoga. So someone who is in Bhakti Yoga will automatically have others like Jnana, everything will be built into it. Hare Krishna. So let's start our journey. So what is all this? 13th chapter is long, a bit heavy also. So please pay attention. Hare Krishna all. So the first one is Prakriti. What is Prakriti? The material nature. Second one is Purusha. Purusha is enjoyer of the Prakriti, right? So we think we are the Purusha and we enjoy, but let's see what Krishna is telling and who the actual Purusha is, right? Kshetra is the body. Shariram we say, no, the body, that is only Kshetra. Kshetrajna, observer in the body, soul, super soul. Knower is see, basically the concept is this. Whoever knows our body, like we know only our body, right? So that's the soul, right? And who's the super soul? He's a knower of all bodies, right? So that's the knowledge of that. Right? So that now moving to Jnanam, knowledge, understanding Kshetra and Kshetranya. So what are these, right? So that is what is Jnanam. And Neyam is the goal of knowledge. What is the goal? We all know Paramatma here because we have to reach Paramatma, right? So we will discuss each one in detail. Hare Krishna. You can start.
Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the end of knowledge." The blessed Lord then said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field."
So very clearly he has explained that, you know, these are the things. As usual, Arjuna opens the talk and he is saying that, oh Krishna, I would like to know about all this, what we saw, right? One is Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the field and the knower. Whatever we saw, those 6 points is what he's asking for an explanation. So Krishna is saying that this body, right, is called the field. Whatever we are seeing is called the field. And one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. It's basic, right? So this is the field. And whoever knows it is the knower. Who knows is called the knower of the field. Hare Krishna. Chetrajñam chapi mam vidhi sarva chetreshu bharata chetra chetranayor jnanam yatta jnanam matam matama. Hare Krishna.
O son of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower of in all bodies, and to understand this body and its owner is called knowledge. This is my opinion.
Hare Krishna. So he's very clearly telling. So he says that difference, right? So we know we are also knowers, but what are we knowing? Our knowledge is limited to the extent of our body. Even our body, we don't actually completely know. However, when it comes to Krishna, what is he saying? That he is his knowledge is he knows all the bodies. Why does he address Arjuna as Bharata? Because he's in the same dynasty. So he's just addressing him Bharata. Hare Krishna. So this is like the field, right? So the entire field, whatever we own, is what we will know, right? But if you take the king, for instance, he is the owner of all the fields, right? The entire state and all that. So therefore, he is a proprietor of all, literally in the literal sense. So is Krishna, right? So Krishna is like we know to the extent of what our body holds, whereas Krishna knows entirely everything. So this is what is showing one small field person. What does he know is what I was explaining. Hare Krishna.
That knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect.
Beautifully, they have said that this knowledge of this field of activities, all this, right? Who's a knower, who's all this is very clearly explained in a lot of Vedic thing, Vedanta Sutra and all. But it talks about what is the cause of all this and what is the effect, right? So, what are the purpose of all this is what is clearly explained here. So, let's see what is the explanation given here. Let me start from one. Annamaya. So, what is Annamaya? Annamaya is a very bodily concept, right? For example, you take animals. What do they actually understand? They only think of food, right? So you can relate to animal kind of people who only focus on food. I am not actually talking about the foodies who's interested in food, but I'm talking about typically people who are only focused on that. Beyond that, they don't understand anything. So classic example, as I said, are animals where they are little bit. I would say animals are not only just Annamaya, little more on Pranamaya, because little bit they have that feeling and fear, right? So that is on the next level of platform. That is Pranamaya. So, and what we are expected is what I'm going to show you here. And after this is Jnanamaya. So what is this talking about this? This one talks about the knowledge, right? So, and that is what we are going to do in the entire Bhagavad Gita. So Manomaya, what does it all means is anything to do with the mind, our understanding, our knowledge, right? And typically this is where we will start off in terms of understanding everything. So typically let's take all of us, right? We all right now, since we have come to the 13th chapter, we have understood we are not the body, we are the soul. But still, though aren't we attached to the body? So we have the jnana, which means we have the knowledge. We also know the final destination is Krishna. We've understood so much, right? We have understood implement how to do the process, what is bhakti, how to do karma yoga, everything we have the book, right? So it's like your theory. So theory is jnana. So Vijnanamaya actually means practical application. So in your chemistry lab, you sit and the teacher explains everything. You take this much ounce, you have to mix this with this and all that, right? But this is all only theory part. Application of that theory is very important, and that's called Vijnanam. So that is Vijnanamaya. What is the ultimate after Vijnanamaya? Anandamaya, right? None of us will do anything unless we have eternal bliss. And this Anandamaya can be done only through spiritual. So we are talking about various platforms. So the first one being the bodily platform, Annamaya, Pranamaya, which is the next level, which is the, which is, in fact, Annamaya just at the senses platform, right? At the very rock bottom it is. Pranamaya, at a little bit of, combination from there, it navigates onto your it touches on the mind, right? And you're worried about your life and all. So that is the next level. Jnanamaya is again the higher level of that, wherein you start using, you understand. So that's a concept of understanding. Vijnanamaya is application of that, right? And Anandamaya is your final, right? It's at a soul level. The soul has to be happy. Like how we give food for ourselves, we need to give food for the soul. So spiritual activity is not an option. It is a requirement. Otherwise, you're literally killing the soul. Hare Krishna.
The five great elements: false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, the mind, the five sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms, and convictions. All these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions.
So what they're telling us is five, we call it as Panchabhutas or the five material elements, right? So along with that, the five elements we all know, right? Earth, water, fire, ether, and air. Yeah. So basically the five. Along with that, the false ego, intelligence, and what is the unmanifested? So the unmanifested are the three modes of material nature, right? So that is also the word which will be used is Mahatattva, or they will use unmanifested. They talk about mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So these things, the 10 senses, right? So we are having knowledge acquiring senses, right? Eyes, ears, all that where we use for knowledge acquiring, nose, the skin, all this will be wherever we acquire knowledge. And that is called so that is called a jnanandriya. So that is called knowledge generating. And the next one is the working senses, right? That's called the karmendriya in Sanskrit. So typically karmendriya is your speech, your hands, your feet, your your ejaculation senses. So these are the karmendriya. So these are the five. And what are they telling? The five sense objects, right? So these are clearly what they are talking about is, besides the senses, the five sense objects. What do your eyes are is your sense. So what do you see? Vision, right? Becomes the object. So your vision, your speech, your smelling, your touch. So these are the other five objects which are related to it. Besides all this, your desire, happiness, hatred, distress, and aggregate and life symptom. Life symptom is nothing but the conscious. How do you know that there is a difference between you sleeping and that you're alive? It's only the conscience which makes actual difference, right? So all these are considered in summary to be the field of activities. Okay, and its interaction. So all this put together, right, are the 24 elements which are called the field of activities. Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa shantirarjavam acharya puasanam shaucham sairyam atma vinigraha indriyarteshu vairagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadi doshanudarshanam asaktir anabishvangah putradara krihadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu mai chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini viviktadesha sevitvam adhyatmanyana nityatvam tattvanyanata darshanam etajnanam iti proktam anyanam yad ato nyanyatta. Hare Krishna. You can read.
Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance.
Hare Krishna. So let's see what they are talking about of each of these verses. Right? Humility, amanitva. So what are they talking about? Humility is not to be anxious, to have satisfaction of being honored. So this is a very important factor, because humility, we think, we call ourselves, I'm very humble, but actually what they're telling is you don't expect all that honor, right? But look at us, right? So if someone does not honor us in terms of even observing, hey, he's going in the road, he saw me, but he behaved as if he's not seeing me, right? So that is not humility. You can always tell a hi and just ignore if he does not say hi. But most of the time, we complicate things with these small things, right? So try and relate. I'll try and give a life instance of what we've been doing and our experiences on this. Hare Krishna. Pridelessness, adambitvam, right? So pridelessness means what? Understanding you are not the body, that all of us have understood by now. And thus honor and dishonor are same. So it doesn't matter, right? So someone insults us. Someone, really doesn't even bother about us. Why are we bothered? Because end of the day, they are only talking or they are reacting to a body, right? They are not really getting in depth of the soul and all that. And so this is temporary. So we actually pay so much of heed to our body. Non-violence, Ayesha, right? Unless one elevates people to spiritual platform, one is practicing violence. So what is non-violence, right? Which we call it as ahimsa. So ahimsa means not only what you do to others, what you do to yourself also. Spiritual knowledge is very important. Otherwise, you're actually doing ahimsa to your own soul. So to that extent, ahimsa is there. And ahimsa in Kali Yuga, we are thankfully saved, because ahimsa is more related to your physical violence, right? You go and as long as you think you're spared, you're not, punished for that. But if you take the previous yuga, Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga and all, even if you think something bad, you're actually punished. So today, if that becomes a punishment, then we will be spending the rest of our life only in hell. So they've given a little bit of discount for us in Kali Yuga, where whatever is shown in the form of verbal and non-verbal communication will come in this category of ahimsa. Tolerance. So tolerance is so important, right? And even 2.14, Krishna first time uses the word tolerance very clearly to Arjuna, right? He says, Matra spashtastu kaunteya, sitoshi sika dukkadaha, agama paino anityas, tamstiga shashva bharata, which means that irrespective of whatever it is, heat, cold, happiness, sorrow, tolerate Arjuna. Tolerate, right? So he is highlighting tolerance so much, right? So be practiced to bear insult and dishonor from others. So again and again, what they are telling is many of the times, this is when we react. We tell, oh, that person insulted me. He's shouting at me. Why won't leave? I get a chance, I'll give him back. Right? So that give him back policy is totally away from tolerance. So tolerance is at two levels. One is at a mind level, another one is at a physical level. Let me just explain what. In your mind itself, you may think, okay, this person is just talking something. Let me just not take it too far. Right? That you tolerate at a mind level. Sometimes you are forced to exhibit tolerance. Your principal, your teacher, or when you go to a workplace, your boss, it's not that you're entirely convinced with them, you're happy with them and all, but you just don't have a choice. So at a mind level, you're not tolerant, but at an exhibit level, you actually try and hold on to it. So both are coming under the category of tolerance, but the first one is even better because it does not lay stress to yourself, right? The second one, actually what is happening is you don't exhibit it, but deep within, you're actually fighting your own battle. Hare Krishna. Simplicity, arjavam, right? So straightforward. So simplicity is commonly used, right? I believe in simplicity, but I'm so simple. So they've given the real definition of this simplicity. So straightforward that you can disclose the truth even to an enemy, right? Even to your enemy, you can be telling the truth, right? So that is the extent of simplicity, which is very difficult to practice. Accepting a spiritual master, Acharya Upasana. This is very important because just like how we are having a teacher, right? So even though there are lots of books, even though there are lots of libraries, we definitely, and the book is written by somebody else, but we have a trained teacher to teach us, right? So the only request which is here is that everybody should seek a genuine spiritual master in Parampara succession. Why? Because only through them. So we already saw yesterday that Krishna is lending his hand for people who have fallen in water for them to rise above. But that hand, and between the hand and the water, the spiritual master acts as a rope, right? So we have to hold on to the rope so that it becomes easy for him to move. Hare Krishna. Cleanliness, chaucham, right? Which means both external, like taking bath, all the basic hygiene factor, which we read in, in junior school in moral science, and the chanting. Why chanting? Chanting is very important because it cleans us from inside. So that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also has sang in the Cheto Darpana Marjana, which means very important to start cleaning from within. Steadiness, stairyam, determined to make progress in spiritual lives, right? So when you make a progress in spiritual life, you need a lot of steadiness, right? So for any activity, you need a lot of steadiness. This in particular, because you will come across a lot of inhibitions and difficulties, and it's also new, right? We are not, unfortunately or fortunately, we have not done this journey from childhood. Fortunate that at least now we've come on the journey, right? So we need to maintain this steadily to take it forward. Self-control. Atma Vinigraha, which means anything unfavorable to spiritual advancement, right? We have to control. Anything which is unfavorable. So in one line they have put. So what is self-control? We tell that, right? Just a classic example is, many times, the common standard is that, oh, I can drink alcohol. I have amazing self-control. I'll stop with one. Cigarette I can, but I'll just stop with one. This kind of conversation is there. But the technical thing is, as long as anything stops spiritual advancement, even one drop is not required, right? And Prabhupada always said that nobody needs to taste a stool to understand it's bad, right? So it's as good as that. If something is bad, you just stay away from that. Absence of false ego. So ahankara, which we have done, so that is what it is. Reject that I am the body or mind, accept that I am Krishna. So most of the time, you keep thinking I am the body, I am the soul. I am the soul is correct, but I am the body, I am the mind, I factor, right? We always tell my hand, right? Unknowingly we are aware, knowingly only we are not aware. We don't tell I hand, right? So that means we are clearly differentiating the body and myself, right? You say my friend, you say my hand, my phone, right? So all this we are differentiating as something different from the I. I don't say I, I body, I, no, right? Grammatically we say it's wrong, but actually if you see, we have been used to this because we are different from our I. The I is our soul. So that is what it clearly says, that we have to understand that we are a servant of Krishna. So now this is a very shocking experience for beginners, because we don't like the very concept and the word called servant, right? Because the word servant is so disgusting for most of us. But why is it disgusting? Because here we feel servant is someone whom we relate to the maid, who comes, cleans the house and all that, and expects a salary, right? That is a Sudra. So therefore we feel that, oh my God, they are trying to pull me down. But do anyone feel the same with Hanuman? Do you see Hanuman is also working? So here the servant actually they're talking about is a servitor relationship, right? So serving someone. So let me tell you whom and all you serve. And in this class, any of you all have brothers, sisters? Yeah? Okay. So are there many situations when you have to take care of your brother? Day to day itself you will take care, but if they are younger to you, you take care of them, right? You get up, you tell them, hey, go brush your teeth, or you help them with a breakfast, or make their bed, or help them with the notes or homework, right? So you're actually helping is the language we are used to, but you're actually serving, right? Because let's also take your mother, right? She does everything for you, breakfast, lunch, dinner. So is she your servant? No, right? So she's actually serving you. So highest form of love is by serving. Let's take even a simple thing. Besides parents, you have a dog in the house or a cat in the house, right? You give it a bath, right? You comb its hair, everything you do. Why? Because you love it. And what are you doing? You're doing service, right? You are actually serving. But however, what we feel is, no, I'm handling it. I'm taking care. It's the word and the language which we are so attached to, that the very concept of servant is a stigma in our mind. But please understand, every time the word servant comes, it means serving and servitor. It's not the maid concept which is stuck so deeply with us here, right? And whatever is very high here is lowest there in spiritual world, and vice versa. Whatever is the lowest which we feel here, for example, like servant, is the highest in the spiritual world. Perception of evil. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. Dukkha, Donontu, Darchanam. regularly hear about these from the proper source become disguised with material life. Only if you hear you will get disguised. Otherwise, till now we thought it's only me, right? So if you have to get disguised, you have to constantly keep hearing about all this. Next is detachment. Asakti. What does it actually mean? Ready to sacrifice anything for Krishna. So this is different from love. Many people say, I don't want, you mean I have so much, why should I get detached from family? No, they are not telling you to not love. In fact, what they are telling is don't, fall in the trap of love that you get so much like a jail. I'm sure each one of us have felt, oh my God, today, it's so difficult, they literally, they're not allowing us to breathe also. Have you all felt? There are times when we have felt, right? And they call it affection. Will you like your mom and dad, right? Telling you, Kana, I made breakfast for you. You're so nice. I made breakfast for you. I love you so much. Okay, but finish off the breakfast, wash the plate, keep it. Kana, I'm going to take the book and study. You see, I love you so much. I wanted to study. Okay, and then after that, clean and arrange and keep off. I love you so much. I love you so much. Kana, finish full day. If I'm going on, you neither feel the service is done, nor it is right. There's an expectation. I did this for you. Can you just clean off my vessels because I'm doing so much? See, once in a way, okay, we won't mind doing it, but if they keep telling this on and on, it becomes like, oh my God, this is too much pressurizing, right? Have you felt it? Yes. So that is where we are telling, right? You should have detachment. If you have expectation, you will have disappointment. So if you sacrifice everything for Krishna, it doesn't mean, we will not eat food. No. You make food, you give it to Krishna and you eat, it becomes easier. Whereas what happens mentally, our expectation is, okay, I'm cooking for this person. And the person will be so busy and who doesn't even look at you, you feel so disheartened. I didn't understand this, but I realized this in an instant, right? So in the morning when I get up, I used to tell good morning to everyone from childhood. So what happens is when you tell good morning, we have a thin amount of expectation that the other person also should tell good morning. Somewhere, right? So if the other person does not notice us, or if they're in a bad mood, or they've had a fight with us also, even if they don't tell good morning because they are preoccupied, our mind thinks, oh, maybe they are angry with us. Maybe they are keeping grudge. So all this, now though consciously you want to control, it comes by. And sometimes you even think, why should we even tell good morning? Let's forget this, right? All this happens for you all also. Yeah. So I too continue the good morning, but prior to that, I say that Hare Krishna. So what happens when I'm telling Hare Krishna, I'm actually calling Krishna. So the other person, whether the person tells, does not tell, not worried at all. Because that is a relationship between Krishna and him. He has to settle account with Krishna, not mine, right? I am telling Hare Krishna, I have told Krishna, I have conveyed it to him also or her also. Now, whether she or he tells me back or not it becomes Krishna's problem. So the anxiety shifts from me to Krishna. That is the point which is highlighted here. Hare Krishna. No entanglement with wife, family, and children. That's why I built a base. Very clearly, what they are talking about, renouncing is never encouraged in Krishna consciousness. Even when Arjuna says, I want to run away, he is not telling, no, run away, good, go renunciate, you're a great guy. He says, no, stand up and fight. I'm okay even if you're dead in the battle, but don't run away, right? So what he is saying is, Krishna is telling that renounce if anything which is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness only counts. But the practice by itself should not be renounced because Krishna conscience is not inertia. Inertia means it is not, everything is action, right? It's not silence. Krishna conscience is always full of action. Hare Krishna. When mindedness, right? Even-mindedness. So basically that we've been seeing all through, right? Up and down, loss or gain, right? So you don't get confused and you don't get puzzled and you just stay steady. Unalloyed devotional service. We already read what is alloyed metal and unalloyed. Unalloyed is pure. So he's telling pure devotional service. These factors, specifically the last one, becomes extremely important. And what is the 9 process of devotional process of bhakti? We already said Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, Bandhanam, Archanam, Sakyam, and Atma Nivedanam. So all this put together, 9 are the process of bhakti. And you don't have to follow all, any one process is also right. So that is what Krishna is telling. Hare Krishna.
I shall now explain the knowledgeable, knowing which you will taste the eternal Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world.
Now he is telling that I'm going to explain the knowable. So what is knowable? Okay, what is the point in knowing the knowable? He says that you'll start having eternal bliss. We saw, right, Anandamaya. The Brahma, right, whatever they're talking about, the spirit, it does not have a beginning or it does not have a end, and it is subordinate to me. So very clearly Krishna is highlighting everywhere that the spirit, right, the energy is always subordinate to him, and that is a cause and effect of this world. So that becomes the important factor for creating the world, and Maya is also his subordinate. Sarvendriya guna bhasham sarvendriya vivarjitam asaktam sarva brikchaiva nirgunam guna bhoktricha. Hare Krishna.
The super soul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all living beings. He transcends the modes of nature and at the same time is the master of all modes of material nature.
So he's saying the super soul, that is the Paramatma, is the original source of all senses, right? But he is Nirguna. We already told that he is in here, but he's not having a material body, he's got a spiritual body, right? So does not have senses means basically, as I told, his mouth can also see, his eyes can also eat. So it's not the way in which we perceive. We always try and lock Krishna with our head. We can't lock him. He's so huge that his potencies are so big that to understand that even demigods can't, right? So where are we? He's unattached, although he is maintainer, right? He is not attached or he is not in the strings of the modes because Maya is under him. That's what he transcends the mode of nature, and at the same time he's a master of modes. So he becomes a master, which means that once we start praying Krishna, what happens? We go into the Krishna. Krishna becomes our protector, right? So he is going to take over control of the chariot, and what chariot we will see subsequently. Krishna.
The supreme truth exists both internally and externally, in the moving and non-moving. He is beyond the power of the material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also nearer to all.
Hare Krishna. I already told you that Achinta Beda and Abeda philosophy. Far away but near. Very apparent contradiction for people who don't understand. But if you start understanding Krishna, these are very normal. These are amazing, wonderful, activities of Krishna. The supreme truth, right, exists both internally and externally. So everywhere it exists, right, moving, right, and non-moving. So whatever is there, life, whatever has life does not have life, internal potencies or external. Irrespective of that, he is, he is the greatest of all. So the supreme truth, that is Krishna, exists in everything. It's all prevailing. Hare Krishna.
The supreme truth exists both
we saw this. Hare Krishna.
He is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart.
So he is situated in the heart, we clearly know. He is the source of light in luminous objects. Here in Bhuloka, we have all these objects, sun, moon, stars, and the source of light is sun. So in Vaikuntha, where are they? No, they don't have this because the Vaikuntha is with Brahman effulgence, right? So it is self-illuminated. So there is no requirement of all these external illuminations. So where is the light gone, right? Because like a coconut shell, which covers, if you actually see the inside part of it, the coconut shell is covered with multiple layers, right? And same way, our material universe is covered with multiple layers. The outermost layer is called Mahatattva. That acts as a barricade and the spiritual effulgence does not enter so deep, and hence we need artificial in the sense, not the luminous objects like sun, moon and all that, right? So he's beyond the darkness of matter, right? So he's beyond that and he's unmanifested, right? And is unmanifested. So he's there everywhere. He is the knowledge, right? He is the object also. So he is the goal. So he is there literally everything. It is Krishna. And he is situated in everybody's heart as Paramatma and Chaitaguru. Like how a flower, when we smell, we can feel it. Like that, he can constantly, if the flower is even by the side, we get the smell. Like that, Krishna is next to the super soul and constantly is able to smell what the soul is doing. He gives directions, but he does not force the soul to. He gives free will for the soul to decide. Hare Krishna. So this is a go ahead, Hare Krishna.
Thus the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature.
So now we told that nobody can understand. So he's also telling my devotees can understand. So even the demigods can't understand, but we saw, right, unalloyed devotion. That's the most important thing. They can only understand because they feel this is amazing, but rest of them feel questionable. How is it possible? How can Krishna be present here also, there also? Is it humanly possible? All this tell. Yes, it's humanly not possible. That is why he is not human, right? Hare Krishna. That's the field of the activities. That's the body, the knowledge, and the knowable, right? They all have been summarily, it's described by me. So he's only explaining everything, which can be understood only by the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature.
Hare Krishna. What he's telling is the material nature and the living entities, right? They do not have a beginning. We always think, it started here, it started there. It started so many years before, right? We talk about various BCs, ADs and all that, but it has always never had a beginning. It's always been there and it is a process of continuous, in your language, evolution, right? The transformation and the modes of matter are products of material nature. Why? Anyone who's born goes through the 6 processes, right? He's born, right? He remains there for a while and then grows. After that, what happens? The same ulta happens after going like this, right? The chain has to come down. So some byproducts are produced. He gets married, children and all that, and body also undergoes a lot of change. And then again, it starts creating, and then finally goes off, which we have already seen. So can everybody mute? Hare Krishna, can the admin mute? Thank you. So these are the things. See, now whatever I'm telling, even our doggy is telling yes, yes, Hare Krishna. See, that's the power of Hare Krishna. And a very important point is, even the animals, birds, reptiles, when we tell the japa, it goes, the vibration is just not good for you alone, but it's also good for them. And, they also reach a elevation in their life. So that is very important. Hare Krishna. Karya karana kartar te hetuhu prakritir uchyate purushah sukha dukhanam bhoktritve hetu uchyate. Hare Krishna.
Nature is said to be the cause of all material activities and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world.
So we will think, no, Hare Baba, what did I do? I am the cause of the suffering and enjoyment they are telling, whereas nature is said to be the cause of all material activities and effects. Why are they, so basically nature, what is nature doing? Based on whatever is your desire, right? You now desire, to eat rubbish, then it will tell that why you want to be in a human life and eat rubbish. Be a pig. I will facilitate so that you can have more of that, right? Same way, if you want to, go, wild and do a lot of things in terms of even eating, I'm just taking eating as just one concept for the sake of understanding, right? So, I want to, hunt over people or hunt and do, then why you want to be a human being? Because human being is not that feasible, flexible for that. Be a tiger. No, I'll give you a tiger body. So what does the nature do? Gives whatever you want to enjoy. It tells you to enjoy in absolute quantity. Because one thing is very clear. When you eat, you enjoy this much. But when an animal eats, its enjoyment is multifold. Because its prime job is that, right? So it gives you the body which is suitable for your mind. So who is now calling the enjoyment? You are calling. What indirectly are you leading that to? Suffering, right? So it's a built-in situation which is happening there. Hare Krishna. Purusha prakriti stohi bhunte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sad asatyogi janmashu. Hare Krishna.
The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the 3 modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil amongst various species.
So what he is telling, the living entity in the material nature, whatever is living here, follows the ways of life, right? Why, how, enjoying the 3 modes of nature, right? Most of the time, we are not in one mode. We are always a combination of 3 modes, right? Sorry. Combination of the 3 modes of nature. This is due to what, because he's associating with the material nature, which is Maya, he meets with both good, evil among the species, right? So you see good, you see bad. And now this is very important because this part will make you realize that if someone is behaving so nasty, you feel like taking revenge. Remember, that person in that nasty, that really bad level is in the mode of ignorance. Now, you may be in the mode of passion and goodness. Do you want to go down? We use in English, right? Do you really want to go down to his level? It actually is that. In the actual sense, it means that if the person is in mode of ignorance, you trying to behave like him, it means from whichever mode which is higher, you are actually going down. So you are called. Do you want to tell him he's in the category of mode of ignorance, junkin, or you want to go down? Right? So this is a decision which you can do, you can make. Thus, he meets with both good and evil among the various species, right? So you have good also, you have bad also. For instance, as I said, a tiger is supposed to be in the mode of passion, right? Because it chases. It's not like sitting and having a free lunch. It works for its lunch. So who is lower? Snake is mode of ignorance, right? So there is also a saying, even if you give milk to a snake, the snake will bite you, which is why snake, scorpion are considered bad and wild even among the sages. Even they don't, feel great about a snake. And you take who's in the mode of goodness, cow. Cow is considered to be in the sattvic quality. Hare Krishna. Karya Karana Kartavya. We did this, right? Hare Krishna. So the name, yeah, we did this. So I'm just moving to this. Yeah. Can you see the screen? Okay. Upadrashtanumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatmeti Chaputto Dehesmin Purushasparaha. Hare Krishna.
Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul.
So what they're telling, in this body, right, there is another enjoyer, right? In fact, we think we are the enjoyer, but they are bringing the concept of who the Purusha is, right? The transcendental enjoyer, the Lord, who is the supreme proprietor. He is the owner, right? Who exists as the overseer, right? So he oversees our action, does not stop, and permitter, right? And his name is called Super Soul. So beautifully they've explained. He is told that there is a supreme enjoyer inside, and he is an overseer as well as a permitter. Yes.
One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position.
Can anyone give guarantee? I already told you, right? So Krishna is giving 100% guarantee that if anyone understands, is sure to get liberation. Right? If he can break this cycle, he is definitely going to get liberated, which is what he is teaching Arjuna also in the second chapter very clearly. Traigunya Vishya Vega Nishtraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Arjuna, please raise among the three modes, right? That is only very important. So he is just highlighting that so well in the second chapter itself. Krishna.
Some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires.
So many are telling, how will you achieve the super soul? How will you understand? Some do the dhyana, right? The meditation concept, and through that, he will be able to achieve he will be able to get through, he will be able to understand the Paramatma. Whereas others, they will be working, right? We already read this Nishkarma Yoga. So through Nishkama Karma Yoga, he will be able to achieve. That is, whatever job he does, he surrenders the results to him. So that is what we read in the first 6 chapter, Karma Yoga. How can you go free from liberation? How can you get out of this bonding of circle and birth and death? Is because you do karmic activity. How can you do karmic activity? Tell me one way how you can be without committing any sin. One simple way is not working, renunciation, but that's not the way Krishna recommends, right? So the simplest way is whatever activity we do around Krishna consciousness. And as per the prescribed book. So you should tell, okay, whatever activity you do, I will therefore, steal and give it to Krishna. No. That's not what he's saying. He's saying whatever activity you do as per the prescribed regulation is very clearly given. No loopholes in Veda, right? They are so clear, simple and straight. So that's two ways of achieving it. This is Lord Kapila. And he is preaching, it's in the 3rd canto, wherein he is preaching his mother Devati. See, Kapila himself is one of the incarnation of Krishna. He is one among the 12 Mahajans. He is preaching to the to his mother and talking about the whole concept of the soul and all this. Hare Krishna.
Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authority, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
So what he's telling is, oh my God, there are people like us who do not have this kind of spiritual knowledge, right? We may not be so well versed, and we may not be born in the Brahmana family, or we may not be born in the Kshatriya family. What can we do for a lot of people, right? He says, you just hear, Shunu, right? Hear. Shravanam is very important. That is the first stage. Just hear from an authorized source, and that will help you to transcend the path of birth and death. Hare Krishna.
O chief of the Bharatas, whatever you see in existence, both moving and unmoving, is only the combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field.
So what he is telling is very simple. Whatever you're seeing, right? Manifested, not what you can see, what you can't see. Manifested, unmanifested. Whatever is moving, not moving, right? It's just a combination of what all the fields. And who knows the field? When it comes to you, it's your body. When it comes to all bodies, it is Krishna, right? So it's just a combination. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyat svavinayantam yaha pashyati sa pashyati. Hare Krishna.
One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul is ever destroyed actually sees.
Very clearly what he is saying, anybody who is able to see that super soul is what exists in every body, right? He who understands that neither the soul nor super soul is ever destroyed, because both are eternal. We already read the qualities and properties of the soul, right? It cannot be withered, it cannot be moistened, it cannot be burned, even with the bomb, and it's the smallest, it is 1/10,000th of the tip of our hair, right? So all this we have read so well, and now it says that this is eternal, right? So therefore the both soul as well as the super soul can never be destroyed, right? Who can understand this sees Paramatma in every soul, even in an animal soul, even in a cat, even in a dog, right? So that is what it is. It's a good feeling, no, for all the cat and dog lovers. Are there any dog lovers and cat lovers and animal lovers here? Yes, no? Can I have some yes, no's? Hare Krishna. Yeah, okay, very nice. So see, very clearly he's saying that Paramatma is there. Kavlava, that's so nice, Hare Krishna. So they are saying that Paramatma is there in every soul, right? For all those who keep telling this is bad, Chichi, don't do at all, you can always, don't quote this, but they will understand gradually over a period of time, right? So this is what it is. And remember, human beings also have Paramatma, treat them also well. Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination.
Yeah. So see, what they are telling is, if they see super soul, see today what we are relating to all these animals or other things are two things. One is either they belong to me, so I like. Some maybe I don't, they don't belong to me, but still as a concept, I like a dog. As a concept, I like a cow or a cat, right? But what they are telling is, do we actually see there is a super soul and I start loving? Change that thought. It's the same thing. You still will maintain, you'll go pamper the same thing. But start seeing it as there is a Paramatma inside. It's the same Paramatma inside your heart, and then to extend this, maybe these people, whichever is a cat, possibly in the next birth is going to be human, right? If it's going to hear your mantra, or the person, it could have already been a human in its previous birth and it's got downgraded, right? So we just don't know, right? So all this can happen. So this is one thing which I wanted to share with you all. Hare Krishna.
One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees.
So very clearly he says that if one can clearly see that everything is performed by the body, right? Why is this body created? It is only a creation of the material nature. And therefore he tries to disorient his self. What is self? I told I, and the I refers only to the soul, which we don't understand. Subconsciously we understand, but conscious level we don't understand. That's why we call, I keep telling, right? My hand, you tell, you don't tell I hand, right? So the one who can understand this, that this body is just a creation by the material nature, right? You make best use of this bad bargain and try and see where we can go to Krishna, which is our destination. Otherwise, what is happening? He will not relate. He sees that the self does nothing. Nothing is done. All the actions are taken care by the body only. So he doesn't break his head.
The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul, situated in Brahman vision, does not mix with the body, though situated in that body.
Yeah. So basically, this effulgence, the sky, right? Its glare and all that, it does not mix with anything, right? It stays aloof. I will also give you another example, right? You have, you can see typically, when you mix water and milk, you feel that it is getting mixed. It appears that way. But actually, if you take a swan can actually differentiate the water and milk. So whatever we think we know also is different. So what they are saying is, whatever is situated here, it does not mix with the body. It's totally different. Soul is different and body is different. That is why our wishes, you want to be eternal. You want to be happy. We don't want this because we are not used to it, right? We feel out of place here because we are actually out of place. We don't belong here. I always keep telling, right? We are human beings. No, we are spiritual beings with human body, right? So that is a fact because our soul is eternal and that's present here.
O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness.
So what is he's telling, just like how he's just taking the analogy of the sun and how sun can illuminate the entire universe, right? There's only one sun. Like that, there is one, so same way, within the body, right? The entire body is illuminated by what is called the consciousness that is within us. Hare Krishna.
One who knowingly sees this difference between the body and the owner of the body and can understand the process of liberation from this bondage also attains to the supreme goal.
So right now we've got what? Jnana. We've got a lot of knowledge, right? I'm not the body, I'm the soul. This is what they're saying. If you know that, I'm not the body, I'm the soul, which means that I'm not the owner of the body. The body is given as a vehicle. So when I'm driving a car, right, I am different from the car, right? If there is a difference, touch wood, but if there is an accident, there is a difference, right? And the car gets crushed, you feel bad, but there's a difference between the car getting crushed and you getting crushed, right? So you are the soul conceptually, and the car is referring to the body, right? So the body is just an exterior thing. You have to take care of the body because it's a material requirement. But then getting over obsessed with the body, I am the body, I should be like this, I'm not looking good, she's looking good, he is not at all intelligent, I am more intelligent than him, or vice versa. All these are very bodily features, right? So why are we like getting addicted to that? That is the point. Because of which this causes a bondage, right? So, and that is where we get disappointment, getting hurt. All these disturbances are all happening because of this bodily platform. 13th chapter is a little long, so had to take an hour. Hare Krishna. So what are the things? First thing starts off with Arjuna asking 6 questions, right? So what are the 6 questions? We'll come to it. Etad veditum ichami, right? So he's asking what is the meaning of all this. He's asking what is Purusha, right? Who's the enjoyer? That is only Purusha. Prakriti, material nature. What Kshetra, Kshetrajna, all this, right? Jnana, everything, Nayam, everything is being asked one after the other, which we saw. We also saw the process of acquiring knowledge, right? 13.8 to 12, it says, Mayi Chananya Yogena, right? How should we get knowledge? Very clearly, always spiritual master is the solution throughout. Everywhere it's highlighted so much. So it tells that. Nayam, object of knowledge. Sarvataha Pani Padam Tat. 13.13 to 19, right? What is the object of knowledge? Name talks about what is the object, right? Prakriti, Purusha and union. Prakriti, as I say, is Maya. That's the nature. Purusha is the enjoyer and union, of course. So this is the heading itself. Karanam Guna Sango Asya. And finally, they're talking about the vision of knowledge. Kshetra, Kshetra Jnayor Evam. Anantaram Jnana Chakshushu. Chakshushu means eyes, vision. Jnana Chakshushu means intelligent vision. So through your, it's not intelligently see, it means that with your intellect, right? So he's telling Kshetra, Kshetra Gnayor Evam Anantaram, everything, right? Through the Jnana Chakshu, through your spiritual vision, with your knowledge, vision of knowledge, please see, is what he is highlighting, right? So clearly, Krishna. So 13th chapter, with this we will start. I won't say end the chapter, we'll end this chapter. It's a slightly long chapter, so I'm not going to do the bridge course today, and we will take that tomorrow when the chapter is smaller. And what is the thing totally, please stay here. I just want to share one more video. Before that, do you all have any doubts? Do you all have any doubts? Hare Krishna. Do you all have any doubts? Hare Krishna. Abhishek, please continue recording. We have to do, upload donations also. Yeah. No doubts? Thank you so much. Just 1 second. Hare Krishna. Abhishek, are you there? Can you hear me? Yeah, please go ahead and record. I would just like to share the details of our temple. Hare Krishna. So today we saw the 13th chapter, and I'll continue this. We will share the details of our temple, right? The upcoming temple in Mangalore. Just give me 1 second. So basically, just give me 1 second. So we have our temple, which is coming up in Mangalore, and I just thought I'll share this with you all. Right. So basically, this is a donation appeal, and therefore it is not mandatory. But I just want you all to stay and see what this is, and then you can take a call. There is no mandate for the donation. There's no prescribed amount. It's totally voluntary, and it's up to you all. Whatever you wish to, you all can contribute. So this is a place where we've we've got enough donors who have thankfully with which we could buy this land for Mangalore. So this is the area where the temple is coming up. In fact, we completed our Bhumi Puja also. So this is where our core team, right? All these sannyasis are staying there. So this is our deities. Shishi Radha Govinda. So these are our Mangalore deities. Very beautiful, no? Hare Krishna. And they are currently sharing a house kind of a concept where it's now we're going to have a huge temple. So you see, Mangalore had a speciality where almost initially 75% was books, and the balance 25% only were plays. Now they're going to make it so big because when we go there, we can sit in a classroom and preaching. Prabhupada has always spoken about preaching. So how can you be a sponsor? So sponsor, you can sponsor just one brick, which costs 1,500 rupees. 2 bricks, obviously multiples, it's like 3,000, or 5 brick, which is 70,500, or 10 bricks, right? So even a single brick you can contribute. The link is shared, and we will share this in the group. So, or you can concept of square foot, right? If somebody wants to contribute a square foot for the temple, yes, please go ahead and contribute 1 square foot. So that is the speciality of the temple. Benefit of the life patterns, what you can also become a life member. And what are the benefits? As a life member, you will be entitled for the benefits. One is you will get an international ID card, which you can use anywhere, right? and the card will be honored across ISKCON centers. Accommodation will be at a very reduced rates for these life members. And it's 3 days per year at each center, right? So every center you'll be able to do that, and you need to obviously advance book it. You get a complete complimentary Bhagavatam set, and a special puja is done on your birthdays. So how expensive is this? It is only costing you 35,000, 35,555, and this also can be paid in installments. So your name will on the wall, right? So the next one, they're going to the higher level, which is called the Dharma. It's called Dharma Karta Seva. Dharma Karta Seva, what happens is your name will be on the wall. Spiritual name, it will be, it will be permanently there, and you have a VIP pass for everything. And it's a free ISKCON life membership is built into this, and the Seva amount is 1 lakh rupees, and it can be paid in 3 installments. So that is a specialty. So the next one is 1 cent of land if you want. Again, your name is up on the wall. You get VIP pass, you get free membership, and the Seva amount is 2.7 lakhs. So, and also you have what's called the Mukhya Dharmadhikari Seva. So, you offer 2 cents. You can become a Dharmadhikari also. And again, your name goes there, your participation in, all these yagnas, and you get VIP masses, you have a free membership, and it can be paid over 3 years. It's 5.4 lakhs. And the next one is Maha Mukhya Dharmadhikari Seva. You can offer 4, cents of land. Your name is on the wall, and you have VIP pass. You get a free membership. Your Seva amount is double that, which is 10,80,000, and it can again be paid through that. So Sevas and donation amounts are all listed here. So you can even have a contribution as small as called the monthly Seva for the temple, starting at 500 rupees. One time monthly Seva is just 500 rupees. Please, there is links which are here. We will share. If you have any difficulty, please get in touch with our admins. They will also help you. You all can, message or write to us. For donations, we have this ID of our president. They can also, you can write to him. So as I said, monthly commitments for Seva, what all there? It's called Raja Bhoga. Bhoga, so many items are given to Krishna, and for a single day, it's 500. Or it's a Nitya Sarva Seva, 1,000 rupees. And we have what's called the Dhupa Seva for the month, which is 2,000. Nitya Shera Naivedya, obviously the Palagar which you give for Krishna, Prasadam, we get, it's 5,000. Pushpa Alangar is a flower decoration for the entire month, it's 10,000 rupees. So everything is taken there. So very clearly it's mentioned Raja Bhoga per day is 500, and all these costs are built. I will share this presentation for you all to go through. Hare Krishna, it's a humble request, and thank you so much. And it's totally voluntary. When you feel you want to do, and irrespective of whatever is the amount, you can always do this. And thank you so much. And if there is anything else, we can finish this also. We can end this session. Can we close the session today? If there are any doubts? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is there any other doubts? No? I hope I've not missed out on anything. Sure. Thank you so much. And for lifetime membership, do we need to do? I don't understand the meaning of what is Mundan like.
Mundan, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, all the male Prabhujis are doing they don't keep any hair on their heads.
No. You mean tonsure? No.
Yes,
See,
yes.
life membership anybody can do, right? We are all members. Life members means that we are like see that concept is, if you are a life member, it means that you can participate. You will get prasad delivered in your house. You will get Srimad Bhagavatam set and all that. Mundan is different. It's the people who do not want and they want to permanently go there. You understand, right? So it is got nothing. It's two different things. Like how if you contribute to a god, you go to a temple and you put 100 rupees or 50 rupees or 10 rupees, right? You are giving it